Although Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal enjoy near universal adulation, not all athletes enjoy the same good fortune. There exist athletes who, instead of receiving acclaim, frequently encounter discontent from supporters and, on occasion, are met with blatant hostility. Throughout my entire life, I have avidly followed ATP tennis. I consider these 10 ATP tennis players to be the most despised of all time. Number 10, Lucas Rosol. On the court, Lucas Rosol engaged in a multitude of confrontations and disputes with the chair umpires. However, his unsportsmanlike conduct on the tennis court is the primary reason why both amateur and professional players detest him. Andy Murray once told Rosol during a match, "No one likes you on the tour, everyone hates you." He exerted great effort to catch his opponents off guard and delighted in engaging them in mental games. Rosol was in discord not only with Andy Murray, but also with Rafael Nadal, one of the all-time greats. In particular, Nadal is renowned for his regimen regarding his water vessels. There is some cause why they must be in the same location. To provoke Nadal, Rosol pushed over one of his bottles, knowing this. In another match, Rosol intentionally collided with Rafael Nadal during a transition. Nadal subsequently stated in a press release, condemning the incident as unsportsmanlike. Whether you support Murray or Nadal, it is extremely difficult to dislike Lucas Rosol. Robin Soderling is the number 9th. Robin Soderling, renowned for his dominant performance and 2009 French Open victory over Rafael Nadal, was frequently criticized for his demeanor on the court. Both players and fans regarded him as conceited and lacking in sportsmanlike conduct. Although he was not particularly well liked by the majority of players, his social circle on tour was limited. If one were to inquire about Rafael Nadal's least favorite player, it is possible that he would name Robin Soderling, not because he triumphed over him in the French Open either. It is a fact. You will earn the hatred of one of the most adored players of all time if he disapproves of you. You will also include him on your list of the 10 most despised ATP tennis players. In addition to his dispute with Nadal, he engaged in frequent acrimonious disputes with the chair umpires and other spectators. Number 8. Andy Roddick. Is Roddick Andy? Regarding Andy Roddick, the appellation seems to represent two distinct personas. Roddick is renowned off the court for his affable nature and astute intellect. He is affable and interesting, the type of individual whose sense of humor can enliven a space and put everyone at ease. This Roddick is approachable and favorable. On the court, Roddick, nevertheless, is all business. Both his temper and his propensity to engage in acrimonious disputes with officials are notorious. His propensity to devote more effort to disputes than to the intricate routine of tennis has caused discontent among numerous admirers, especially his fellow Americans. It appears that Andy Roddick frequently devotes more time to controversy than to his game, which makes it difficult for supporters to support him. Number 7. Ymer Mikael. Mikael Ymer, renowned in Sweden not only for his tennis prowess, but also for his assured demeanor, is a highly contentious individual. His daring behavior while playing tennis, such as destroying a racket against an umpire's chair, surely generates disapproving glances. Notwithstanding his limited achievements on the ATP Tour, his audacity in drawing comparisons to tennis titans such as Zlatan Ibrahimovic exacerbates the perception of hubris. His refusal to compete in tournaments in his native country unless he was compensated a substantial amount also generated considerable controversy. His formerly devoted fan base is now bitter, and his relationship with local organizers has been fraught as a result. At home, he has consequently assumed the role of a tennis antagonist, with a great number of Swedes enthusiastically supporting his opponents. Ask any Swedish tennis aficionado, Mikael Ymer is disliked by all. Number 6. Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic, notwithstanding his status as one of the preeminent players of all time, has encountered criticism and animosity from a subset of tennis enthusiasts. his rage has destroyed numerous rackets and even frightened some ball children. In addition, he was disqualified from the 2020 US Open after striking a ball in rage that lodged in the larynx of a line judge. His conduct off the court has also earned him the hatred of some. Recall the Adria Tour failure that transpired amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. That was not advantageous for him. His stance opposing vaccines has similarly generated curiosity. Others contend that his demeanor is devoid of the modesty and elegance exhibited by Federer and Nadal. The amalgamation of these components yields a concoction of viewpoints that is not consistently palatable. Djokovic is simultaneously one of the most adored and despised tennis players in history. Number 5. McEnroe John. In addition to being a legendary player, John McEnroe is notorious for his turbulent temperament and frequent outbursts during matches. Although his prowess and impact on the sport of tennis are indisputable, his capricious persona frequently commandeered attention, eliciting admiration as well as discontent among his audience. His tumultuous temper served as a dual-edged weapon, imbuing the situation with an air of suspense that could equally captivate admirers or provoke their ire. Even in the present day, the mere mention of McEnroe evokes recollections of his explosive outbursts and his dazzling game. Number 4. Daniil Medvedev. Although Daniil Medvedev is a prominent player on the ATP Tour, his lack of courtesy has infuriated his supporters. Although certain Daniil Medvedev supporters admire his bad boy persona, an equal number of individuals abhor him for the same rationale. When the audience applauds an opponent's flawless shots, he is overcome with rage. It will be directed at a ball lad or a racket thrower by him. Furthermore, in response to the crowd's protests caused by his petulance, he will dismiss them. The situation presents an unfavorable catch-22. His conduct generates groans, and those boos in turn generate additional undesirable conduct. Nick Kyrgios is number 3. Kyrgios supporters frequently remark, "You either adore him or abhor him." Moreover, my sentiments toward him are evident from the fact that he is among the most despised ATP tennis players on my list. His status as one of the most captivating athletes to observe undoubtedly garners him a large following. Even though his foolishness on the tennis court adds an extra dimension of suspense to the game, it also generates animosity. I equally despise and adore him. Kyrgios' status as one of the most despised players on the ATP Tour contributes to the fact that he is an asset to the sport. The sentiment frequently revolves around his conduct during matches, which includes unpredictable outbursts, a perceived lack of effort, and a seemingly indifferent demeanor toward officials and opponents. All of these factors have contributed to his contentious reputation. Kyrgios has contested every match I have ever witnessed, and I cannot think of one in which he did not dispute a decision with the umpire. An instance of his worst behavior transpired during the 2019 Italian Open. He withdrew from the tennis competition in the middle of the match after tossing a chair onto the court. I have been perplexed as to why Kyrgios continues to compete in professional tennis for years. Furthermore, I am certain that I am not alone in this. Number 2. Coillerer Daniel Coillerer. Who is Daniel then? Remarkably so. Daniel Coillerer, a native of Austria, was a hothead. He consistently delivered a compelling performance in every match, particularly when he was losing, infuriating not only his opponents, but also the officials and spectators. For improper conduct in 2006, Coillerer was fined and suspended by the ATP for 6 months. He feigned an injury in the video below by laying on the ground after a point had expired. And when no one believes him, he exits the match without even a trace of a limp. However, his lackluster performances did not solely merit his inclusion in my 10th list of the most despised ATP tennis players. For match fixing, Coillerer received a life ban and a $100,000 sanction from the Tennis Integrity Unit in 2011. In March 2012, the Court of Arbitration affirmed the prohibition on sports. Nevertheless, the fine was reversed by the court because he had not obtained any financial gain from the offenses for which he had been convicted. Number 1. Alexander Zverev. The German superstar Alexander Zverev is at the top of my ranking of all time's most despised tennis players. There are numerous reasons for this, but the following are the most significant. Instances of domestic violence allegations. Behavior that is volatile on the tennis court. Let's begin with the allegations of domestic violence. I abhor any form of violence, including that which targets women. You will invariably be at the top of my list. The accusations of domestic violence levied against Alexander Zverev originated with his former partner, Olga Sharapova. She levied a public accusation against Zverev, alleging that he subjected her to physical and emotional torture during their affair. Sharapova disclosed numerous occurrences of physical aggression, which encompassed allegations of choking in 2019. In contrast, Zverev has categorically denied these grave accusations, and he was not punished due to the absence of substantiating evidence. This concludes the video for the day. Have you enjoyed it? Please leave your insightful response in the section below labeled comments. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for additional informative and engaging videos.